Every guy who lifts weights has had this thought: I could own a gym. The machines don't need a paycheck. The floor mats don't complain. You just stand there, take 30 bucks a month from 400 people, and boom, you're rich. That's the dream. Now let's look at what's actually true. First, you need a building. Not just any building. One strong enough to handle people dropping heavy weights on the floor all day. That kind of space costs a lot to rent, and you're signing up for 5 years of it. Then, you need equipment. One good squat rack costs about $2,000. You need 6 of those. A treadmill, a machine that lets someone run and go absolutely nowhere, costs $8,000 to $12,000. Kind of like most people's New Year's promises, expensive, and they don't actually go anywhere either. So you've already spent $200,000 or $300,000, and you haven't even gotten your first customer yet. And that first customer, they're about to mess up your budget. Here's how the membership money works. Say it's $30 a month times 400 people, that's $12,000. Sounds nice, but rent alone might eat up half of that. Then you pay staff. Then you fix broken machines. Then someone spills something gross near the water fountain and you have to clean it. You're not getting rich from memberships. You're just barely covering your bills, if you're lucky. Now let's talk about January. January is the best month for gym owners. Everyone who ate too much over the holidays shows up with a brand new gym bag and big dreams. Sign-ups shoot way up. Owners are thrilled. But here's the trick. It doesn't last. By mid-February, most of those people stop showing up, but they don't cancel. They just forget they're still paying. And that's not bad news for the gym. That is the plan. A gym is built for maybe 400 people at once, but it sells 600 memberships. If everyone showed up at the same time, there'd be no room. But they don't. They show up in January, disappear by spring, and by summer it's just you, a few older regulars, and one guy who's done the same 3 exercises since forever. The gym isn't really selling workouts. It's selling the idea that you'll work out every month to people who mostly won't. That's why that $12,000 treadmill doesn't need anyone using it all day. It just needs to look nice during the tour, so new members can imagine themselves on it, whether they actually show up in March. Not really the gym's problem. Now here's where the real money is, the extras. Personal trainers get paid maybe $25 an hour. The gym charges the customer $80 for that same hour. The customer thinks they're paying for expert advice. Really, they're paying someone to count to 10 out loud, which they could have done themselves. Then there's the protein shake bar. A shake costs about $1.50 to make. They sell it for $9. People buy it anyway because after a workout, your brain isn't thinking clearly. It's tired and thirsty. Casinos use the same trick. Not a coincidence that both places have the same ugly carpet. Then there's the t-shirt. Costs $4 to make, sells for $30, because nothing says, I've got my life together, like wearing a free ad for the gym. And don't forget the sneaky yearly fee, hidden deep in the contract, that renews itself unless you drive down there and cancel in person, which is honestly more exercise than most people did all year. So who actually makes the real money here? Not the small studio owner sweating over rent every month. It's the guy who owns 12 gym locations, sells way more memberships than there's room for, and knows one simple truth. Most people want to become a better version of themselves and then go home and watch TV instead, which might be the most honest business out there. You're not really selling workouts. You're selling hope once a month with a cancel button that's really hard to find. So next time you walk by a gym and think, I could run this place, you're right, you could. Just remember, your best customer isn't the guy doing his 4th set of squats. It's the guy who signed up in January, hasn't been back since the 9th, and is, right now, making the gym the most money of anyone in the building.